I think a lot of men are trying so hard not to hurt women that we infantilize and baby women too much. And I don't think women like that either.
Listen, don't be a martyr. You chose to have the partner and the kids. Like, this is what you want, or this is what you chose. The first time that sort of, let's say, my femininity came into conflict was when I went to college to play volleyball, and then I started modeling in New York. And at one point, my accountant in New York was like, you should quit volleyball and just make money while you can.
Very rarely in my life do I have the urge to stand up straight for any man. I found myself calling him sir, and I don't do that either. Gabby, it is wonderful to talk to you again.
Great to see you.
I was on your show not that long ago, and I've been waiting for this day to come back and around. And I wanted to talk to you specifically today about being a feminine woman.
Yes.
You
Can
are.
you tell?
You are. You are a feminine woman in a way that most women don't know that they can be. Most women today, when you say be feminine, they think it's weak. They think it's giving up something and then falling into a back seat. And that is the opposite of you.
Yeah.
So today I want to talk to everybody out there about what it means to actually be a feminine woman who's embraced that power that comes with it.
Well, it's an interesting question. I think it has to really start with one person understanding who they are first.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that is the way I express my femininity would be different than, let's say, another type of woman.
Mm-hmm.
So I think at the first starting point is not to look at you can borrow, like you can see certain traits that other women possess and you think, that really resonates with me. And I think I'd like to develop that greater in myself. But this idea of me understanding, for example, sometimes the way we parent and mother and keep a house is attributed to certain things in the feminine corner, right?
Sure.
And I have friends that during the holidays, they decorate all the things and they bake the cookies and all that. I'm not good at that. Now I make dinner every night and I keep a tidy home, but it's in my way, right? And so I think the starting point of femininity would be, well, who are you and how would you express the way you love people or care for them? And start from there, not using the guide of other women. Like, I'm going to use it for an exaggeration, but some woman wearing a little coat, a little apron. I still get dinner done and I do run a kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
I don't wear an apron,
Mm-hmm.
right? I might be in my sweats.
Mm-hmm.
And so it allows me to feel more and more confident. And it allows me to express my love and service to my family and the people in my life, but still authentic to who I am. And then also it gives me the opportunity to keep growing and changing because I know where I'm at and I think I'm doing okay here, but I could maybe do better here. And so because I'm working from my genuine place, I then can build upon. But it's certainly not, it's always a choice.
Okay.
For me, when we talk about femininity, being a wife, not mother is a whole other game. But even by being a wife and wanting to care for my husband and make his life better and lift him up and support his goals, that feels really good. Mm-hmm. But it isn't a weakness and I'm not being taken advantage of and someone isn't not appreciating it. And the other side of that would be choosing a partner that does versions of that for you.
I hear that. I didn't really understand how hard it was for modern women to really define femininity until about 8 years ago.
Yeah.
My first daughter was born. And my wife prior to that was tough as nails. She ran her own business before we started having kids. She sold the business, stay at home with the kids. She wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. Our basement is full of her hunting trophies. When it's anniversary time, I buy her crossbows, hunting knives. That's what she wants. One year was a machete. So I didn't really grasp that she was struggling with her femininity until our first daughter was born. And then I remember a time I walked in and she was holding our daughter, but she was crying. My wife was crying. And what's going on? She said, I don't know how to teach her to be a girl. And I said, what does that mean? I don't get it. She didn't really understand femininity herself. She'd been raised by more of a tomboy mom and her dad pushed her in those directions.
Oh, so like the whole makeup-y,
she didn't even have a definition.
Oh, it's so interesting. I don't wonder why we feel like it has to be defined. I think we should just move towards the things that excite us and feel compelling and feel like, oh, that's a coat I could wear.
Hmm.
Because I think it's all of the styles of femininity.
Hmm.
You have certain women that talk like this, and it's so great to see you, but they might be way more ruthless than me. You
Yeah.
just can't see her coming,
Yeah.
right? And people see me and they think I'm so like tough or big, and they don't realize in a way I'm a softie.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I think, oh, it's so interesting. I didn't know that we had to have like one way it was done.
I didn't know either. So I being a bearded masculine man talking to my wife, well, maybe what do you want to do? Do you want to
Yeah.
go buy more dresses? I have no idea. So she started trying to learn, like, what does a woman do to be a woman? And she came to much the answer that you did of it's really up to me to decide what kind of woman I want to be. But it was a very hard journey for her that took years. Was there a time that you didn't understand, or did you just innately know from day one? And if you did, how did you learn?
Well, the good thing I think about my childhood is it was kind of feral.
Hmm.
So there wasn't a lot of kind of expectations, like this is how a person acts. And so what it did is it taught me very early to understand what I was thinking and feeling and believing and seeing and understanding for myself, even as a 7 or 8 year old kid,
Hmm.
because there wasn't really someone around that I was going to trust to tell me those things. So I had to develop a relationship with that early. And the first time that sort of, let's say, my femininity came into conflict was when I went to college to play volleyball. And then I started modeling in New York. And at one point, my accountant in New York was like, you should quit volleyball and just make money while you can. And I remember thinking, well, yeah, no, like that's not really this sport is like the extension of me. This
Hmm.
feels like a really real extension of me.
Hmm.
And it didn't feel like a choice like of femininity. And I remember there being so much sort of hoopla about the fact that I was navigating these two worlds.
Hmm.
And I thought, really, most girls I know kind of have these sides.
Right.
And so it was just me having the opportunity to express both sides.
Okay.
And so that was pretty early. That was at 18. I was dealing with that at a pretty high level.
Yeah.
And so I think I got to avoid a lot of that inner kind of confusion. And remember, I'm 6'3".
Hmm. That's true.
So there's something that comes with being this height that either you're going to go with it or it's going to be tough. And part of that is like you're sort of never going to be like other girls.
Sure.
Like, decide the cute or the outfit or even go to the store and wear the clothes or go on trend.
Yeah.
So you sort of learn to go like, this is who I am. I
Mhm.
might want to just roll with it.
I hear that. It's hard to be invisible.
Well, it's not even the invisible part. It's just sort of like I couldn't do it just even from the physical appearance way, the way most other girls do it.
Mm.
And so it was sort of going like, well, okay,
Hmm.
I'll just try to tune into what I'm wanting.
That's funny. Has the world, because you said it was straddling those two worlds, people telling you quit, your agent, has the world pushed back on you and tried to pigeonhole you into more of what they think a feminine woman should be?
I mean,
You don't seem like you tolerate that, but have they
yeah, I
tried?
don't know who would. And luckily, when I was coming up, right, no phones,
Oh,
no
yeah.
social media. So I only got commentary from like newspapers or, occasionally somebody would do a segment and then throw in some snarky zinger at the end about,
Mm.
actually, it was more the other way. It was like, oh, that I was using my femininity or sexuality in my sport. And I was like, well, okay, if you played beach volleyball and there is no opportunity in the sport and they say, but if you take a picture in your bikini, somehow you now have opportunity. I was like, oh, this blade cuts both ways.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like I'll use that tool,
Absolutely.
but you just have to show up though. So conversely, the other side of that was I trained very hard. I needed to be successful on the court. It wasn't
Yeah.
about like, okay, have your butt cheeks out.
No,
That's not going to work.
no, I hear you.
And so I think I understood that kind of game a little
Hmm.
bit.
Hmm.
No, not too much. I'm always intrigued that I have a lot of women will say to me, I just appreciate how you made strength feminine. And I was like, oh, interesting. We call it Mother Nature.
Hmm.
It's considered a feminine energy. It's savage.
Yes.
And so I'm not sure where we lost that. Maybe it was in you know, in a more civilized time where women were wearing dresses and considered helpless if we lost that. Because if you go back a little ways, I think women have always had their version of savage.
Oh, absolutely. I think femininity has been immense strength throughout human history. I
Yeah.
think women have an abundant strength that people have denied recently, and
Mm.
they think it's weak. They think it's I hate to say the word submissive, but
Yeah.
it is helpless almost. You have to be helpless if you want to be in that way, and I
And
don't
it's
think that's
against your will.
it's against your will. There's a good
That's
one.
the thing. Because you know what I did learn about the word submissive?
Mm,
Because I made the mistake of putting it in a book once.
mm,
I did get a lot of heat for that.
mm-hmm,
I said that I was going to make the choice in my house because the dynamic between my husband and I would choose. It was an opportunity to express that side of myself,
mm-hmm,
but also I didn't fight for equality.
mm,
I came right in through behind, so I
mm-hmm.
had all the benefits of that.
Yeah,
Submissive is to be of service.
yeah.
It isn't to have someone have their shoe on your boot on your neck.
No, correct.
And so,
Yeah, that's subservient.
yes, so it's very different, but I do understand how it's a touchy word. I think what's interesting is we're also now afraid to trust our nature. So, for example, if a woman is a stone cold killer in her work, she's afraid to say, well, how do I feel about having children? Or would I like to have children? Or maybe if I had the opportunity, would I actually maybe want to be home when they're young? We're even afraid to be able to ask ourselves what we want. It may surprise us.
Hmm.
I know certainly when my children were young, I really needed, for me personally, and I did have the luxury to be with them.
Hmm.
That's what I wanted. Not everybody needs that or feels that way. So I think the other really interesting thing is now we don't trust ourselves to go, well, what do I want?
What if the way you've been trying to fix your relationships is actually the reason that they keep breaking? I asked this question of myself when I started designing a program to help people achieve a massive breakthrough in just a couple of days. The answer is that your brain is not designed to change from thinking. It's only designed to change from experiencing. That's why I'm hosting an in-person event just one time a year where I gather a hand-selected group of people. This year, at the end of April, down in San Diego, California, to go through an in-person experiential training program, something I call the Relationship Mastery Intensive Retreat. This includes live masterclasses from me teaching you exactly what you've never understood about relationships, live demonstrations by my certified coaching team to show you exactly what you've been doing wrong in your relationships and how to finally do it right, and small coach-led training practicums where you use the skills right there in real time so you feel it, you know it, and you take it home from the retreat with you. You don't leave this retreat ready to go home and start the work. You leave this retreat already doing the work and ready to enhance it once you get home. Now, the nature of this event is small and intimate, and that's by demand because we have to be able to give you our full attention. Because of that, there are only a few spots left, and I want you to come if this is your year. There's information to get signed up and get more information down in the description below. Make sure you grab that, connect with us, and claim your spot today.
You know, there's an interesting thing Jordan Peterson did talk about, which was if you had come to me when one of my daughters was a month old and said, Gabby, you got the job. You're the CEO. You're making big zeros.
Mm,
We just need you to travel like 8 days in the month and you're going to work 10, 12-hour days. We'll back the truck up. The cash will come. You got the title. You're ready.
mm,
I wouldn't have wanted to do that. And so I
mm.
think sometimes women think there's this unfair thing happening to us, but I think that we don't understand that a lot of women are making the choice. Like I don't necessarily need the or want the promotion. That's not going to
I see.
satisfy me.
I
Certainly
see.
we could get this promotion.
I see.
And so there's a confusion in messaging it to young women, which is sometimes not also sharing the nuance that a lot of times certain women are choosing all kinds of things to make themselves feel satisfied.
Do you think we're taking choices away from women? Do you think that's maybe what's happening? And I don't mean the culture, but do you think that we're making it where women aren't allowed to choose those softer moments or allowed to invest in their family because they're supposed to go chase the career?
Well, yes, and yes, and or at least that's the belief, the construct,
Yeah,
and also the world is becoming increasingly difficult for people to be a single income home.
that's true.
So now we have it set up that it's like, hey, we sort of it's hard to be a one income home. And
That's
so I
true.
think that choices are being made on a narrative,
Hmm.
certainly, but also just from a financial point of view, it's pretty hard and pretty expensive.
I will say that too. I travel 8 days a month. I'm working 14-hour days, and
Hmm.
I can only do that because my wife and her mother are together taking care of the kids as
Yeah.
well. And when I'm there, I'm in the mix. But that is what I do so that my wife can be home. Because if
Yeah.
I wasn't doing that, I don't know what we would be
Yeah.
doing.
She might be out cutting some deer's throats,
She's
and
probably be doing well. She'll be doing that
you'd be
anyway.
eating some smoked meat right
That's her
now.
joy. That's what she'd like to be doing with the kids. If I got 5 of them. They can just bring the deer to the ground with their body weight.
Your wife sounds like what was the Viggo Mortensen movie, Captain Fantastic? Did you
Mm-hmm.
ever see it? It's a genius movie. If
Mm-hmm.
people haven't watched it, it's incredible. But I think it's and somehow in all of this, the other thing that's interesting, and granted, there's always a few bad actors, of course, male and female for that matter, but now on top of it, they've pitted women, they've made us afraid, suspicious of men.
Yes.
And so I think it's sort of they get boxed in a few different locations.
I think women, from what I've been able to find in the field of psychology where I work, a lot of women have been raised by very scarred and rightly afraid elders, mothers, grandmothers, great grandmothers who said, look, my husband died, or he left, or he
Mm.
screwed around, he gambled, he destroyed our family. Don't let that happen to you. You need to go get a career, get money, have a secret bank account, do this, do this, do this, do this. And then it's generations of that trauma. And I think
Yeah.
there's women have learned that men are not to be trusted. And I think a lot of men today are being raised by also angry women who say you're not good because you're a man, you're bad,
Yeah.
and you need to just tone it down and make women happy. And
And no woman wants to have sex with a guy that'll do that.
no,
By the
no,
way, I mean, I always tell younger women that I go, listen, if you try to control all the things, you will have no one that you want to have sex with.
correct.
And we don't know that because we maybe haven't come across someone who knows how to safely be in their own legs.
Mhm.
So, yeah, it's interesting. I personally also wanted to be independent. So I have part of that message
Okay.
so that if my partner that I would choose, which ended up being my husband Laird,
Mm-hmm.
died, left, or fell in love, let's say, got
Mm-hmm.
hit by a love lightning bolt or
Mm-hmm.
something, that it wouldn't take me out, and that
Mm-hmm.
the only reason I was going to be there was because I wanted to
Mm-hmm.
be.
Mm-hmm.
So I did have that mechanism,
Okay.
but not because I thought men were bad.
Mm.
It was like, hey, stuff happens in life. You don't know.
Also true.
So be independent, but not in lieu of if you meet someone that you can be in a partnership with. So it was not an either or scenario for me.
Yeah.
And also I think I've tried to model that for my daughters, which is, and they have a great dad,
Mm-hmm.
a great dad. So they have incredible example. But I still think there's some value for a younger woman to get in her own sense of self, her voice, her likes, and so that she's only there because she really chooses to be there.
Mm-hmm.
That for me is the best place to make a decision. It's not a merger. I don't need, or it's not, hey, can you take care of me?
Mm-hmm.
It's, wow, I see value in this dynamic, and I think together we're better than apart, and I can enrich and enhance your life, and I see how you can do it for me. That really, and I love you. Those for me are the only reasons to be in a relationship. And it gets complicated,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like you have house and like kids and like stuff together. But every day I wake up, believe me, in my brutalness is I want to be with my husband. I don't have to. And I don't care how many kids we have or businesses or houses or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
When I wake up, it doesn't mean every day's perfect. And I know it's not for him as well. But when I see him, I'm like, yes, I want to be here.
I can understand that. I had the joy of being in your home for our episode on your show, and
Yeah.
I met your husband, and you were. I walked in, you were the most feminine host, delightful. Gave me a hug, like here's food, here's drinks, here's everything. It was incredible.
Yeah.
And then you said, "Here's my husband." I turned and I looked at him, and very rarely in my life do I have the urge to stand up straight for any man, and he just like it was like. Stand like
Yeah.
I found myself calling him sir, and I don't do that either. He just exudes that masculine the same way that you exude the feminine, and you're wonderful in your polarity together. It's a beautiful thing, and I can understand how you could be anchored in that because of that he brings that to the table. That is wonderful.
Yeah.
For every woman out there who's watching right now, What does that do for you? Because most women today that I've talked to have never experienced that level of masculine safety from a man in his presence. What does that do for you to allow you to embrace your feminine self?
Well, listen, no matter how masculine I actually naturally am
Hmm.
in my thinking and some of my emotionality, I I'm not more masculine than Laird.
Hmm.
And so
Nobody is.
so but so that line, to be a true warrior one must be compassionate.
Hmm.
I think that what people have they didn't finish the sentence on what masculinity is, right? The honor behind it, the helpfulness, the protectiveness,
Hmm.
the truthfulness of it. So what it allowed me to do as somebody who was like in sports and like kind of fighting and
Hmm.
all of that,
Hmm.
it gave me a place that I was inspired to develop and express my feminine energy and someone to direct that to.
Hmm.
Um, and also somebody who, quite frankly, like handles things that I just either I don't want to or I'm not really good at. And the other thing that people forget is like we're in a time now that everybody's trying to make everything same. And I'm like, when you get to the height of, I can tell you playing sports, I could be on a court practicing with the two best teams from the US, and we could be practicing next to a team, two teams of qualifier males.
Hmm.
In no day would we beat them.
Hmm.
Are we sort of the better or the best in our zone? Yes. Are we bigger, stronger, faster? We're not. And I think the people who know that chasm best are actually women who swim in masculine pools.
Hmm.
Girls who go, it's the same. I'm like, oh, you have just no idea what you're talking about. This idea of different but equal. I think when people can click into each other's tendencies and powers and strengths, it's it's really great. It's a cooperation that is really fluid and beautiful. And listen, I'm painting a picture that Laird and I just don't bump around each other.
Hmm.
We, of course, cohabitation in itself is a freaky act of like, you're still here, yeah, I'm still
Uh-huh.
here. It's
Uh-huh.
like, oh, you do that thing, yep, and I
Mm-hmm.
do that thing.
Mm-hmm.
But when somebody else is like, hey, I got you,
Mm-hmm.
it's sometimes a really nice place to rest in.
What does that look like when you disagree and you have to bring him a concern? And the context here is most women I talk to in my line of work
Hmm.
are so used to running in front of the man, removing any kind of friction,
Oh,
never bring him a problem, don't talk about problems, baby him, powder his butt, make him
yeah,
happy, and he's the lord of the castle until she blows up with resentment 6
yep.
months or a year later. I don't sense that you do that.
I did that though.
You did.
Absolutely. I met
No.
Laird at 25.
Okay.
And he is formidable, as you can see, and
Yes.
he was maybe a little more formidable when because we were both younger. He has gained some wisdom in his
Mhm.
30 years.
Mhm.
And also, to be honest, I didn't know about healthy conflict. I
Oh,
didn't know how to be vulnerable because to tell somebody how you feel is actually showing a
it
vulnerability.
is.
And so you take up somebody that I was like, ugh, I just don't want to rock the boat. I didn't learn healthy conflict. I didn't really want to reveal how I was feeling. So at 30, I left.
Wow.
I was like, who needs this?
Okay.
Because I didn't know how to get into it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Laird can totally get into it.
Yeah.
And so he said to me, I'll never forget. So it wasn't looking good. I mean, I had papers and everything. And Laird came out, to the house, and it had been a year of kind of this thing that we were going through. And he kind of gave me a last chance. Like, hey, like, are you sure? Like, you want to do this? And I really thought about it. And then so as we started to get into the healing of it, I said, this, and then your moods and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, why didn't you say anything? And I thought, oh my God, that's such a great point.
You've spent years learning exactly what to do in your relationships. But when it comes time to do it, you don't. You fall apart. You try to people please, or you run away, or you start another argument, or you just bite your tongue and let it go for one more day. And that has never served you well, but you can't make yourself stop doing it. That's because you're not training the correct part of your brain. You're working on your prefrontal cortex, the thinking area, when you need to reprogram your nervous system, grow some skills, and use those to remap your entire brain. Therapy will not help you do this. That's why people stay stuck for 10, 20 years in therapy. I'm building an in-person program at the end of April down in San Diego, California, where we will be reprogramming those nervous systems together. Now, this is a very small, hand-selected group of people. I only choose people who are ready to do this work. So if you are tired of having the same relationship patterns play out again and again, if you can map them yourself but can't make yourself do them, the Relationship Mastery Intensive Retreat was designed just for you. At this retreat, me and my team of certified coaches will help you achieve the breakthrough you've always been waiting for. That's going to happen through live masterclasses led by me, where I train you exactly on what you've always missed. Coaching demonstrations from my coaching team where they show you exactly what scripts you never knew you needed, and you can see them played out in real time. And then small coach-led training practicums where you will use those skills in real time to begin remapping your brain right there at the retreat. You won't go home from this program waiting to use skills. You go home already using them and ready to deepen them. If you've been waiting for the sign that you're ready to break free, this is it. Secure your spot right now at this retreat because, again, I hand select people very carefully and I don't want you to miss your spot if this is your year. To learn more, click the link down in the description below.
What I will say is this. It's really important. Even if it's you go on a walk and you go side by side, because you're there, if you're intimidated to tell somebody how you feel, if you don't come with this idea of blame, but of trying to go to a solution, like, hey, this is happening and making me feel this way, not you're doing this.
Yeah.
I think there's ways you can do it that you go towards solving, not towards arguing. But I will say, as somebody who was almost divorced and then got another 25 years since then and got some new tools, who cares? Like, if they're going to be mad, who cares? Go right at it. And you'd be surprised. It's like a dog that sort of barks and growls. They only chase people that run away. Yeah. If you go right at it, and if they, like, sometimes even now, maybe twice a year, I can tell there's anything, but I need to discuss something. And if he leans back at me, I just go like, oh, okay. Is this what we're doing? And then he kind of backs down. Yeah. Because one, I don't use it all the time. I don't bring the card out all the time. Yeah. And typically I come with the attitude of like, I love you and I'm here to solve it. But if it's like, oh, you want to lean in and you want to, show a tooth, who cares? What's going to happen? Because that's better than paperwork and almost a divorce.
That's true.
That hour of discomfort, that one day of discomfort. And if like you have a partner, like for some guys I know will do this, or women, but I think it's a little masculine, they give you a silent treatment because they don't really want to deal with it. Lean right into that too. Yeah. Are you giving me the silent treatment? Where do you think that's going to get us? I love you. Do you think you want to try to solve it? Because you, I believe, could also be firm with somebody, but remind them, hey, I love you, but I'm not going to take this from you. And I love you. So do you want to get to it, or are we going to delay this like 24 hours or 48, even dumber? And you kind of see like, because they need to be taught too that it's okay, it's safe. That reaction is, I've never been in a place where it was safe to have these kinds of things. That's true. And Laird is the one who taught me.
That's very true. Like,
tell me whatever you think and feel, and I'm not really, it's not going to be a big deal. It's going to be okay. And then you get in that rhythm. And it does get so much easier and it saves so much time.
And it actually makes us bond because then we trust each other through the fire because we see it.
Because you're like, even when she's coming for me, she tells me she loves me.
100%.
Yeah.
I need that. I need that from my wife. When we first got married, we got married pretty young. Neither of us knew what to do in a relationship. So she did the thing, dancing around, making me happy, never bringing up problems. And I remember we had a pretty big blowout at one point. And same thing. I said, why didn't you just tell me? And she went, I don't know. And I said, okay, rule from now on. We got to tell each other everything within 12 hours. And
because timing is important.
I
think what you're saying, I think if someone's in the middle of a thing and you can't be like, oh, well, I'm telling you my feelings.
Yeah,
I also think like you can read the room a little bit.
That's fair.
Because if the idea is for resolution, clarity, understanding, whatever, set the table to have the opportunity to do that. If someone's in the middle of a business
Yes.
negotiating, you go, I have a feeling. It's like, okay, can you maybe wait just like
Fair.
no one's on fire. It's okay.
That's fair. It seems like a lot of women are dancing around waiting for the perfect moment to share it with them, but she doesn't actually ask, is this a good moment or not? Even just checking in with them about it
Yeah.
can usually help. And I often tell men, like, you have to make a space for your wife to bring things, or she'll find the worst time.
Yeah. Or you'll see her car driving away
Yeah,
with her suitcases in it.
also that,
Because it
yeah.
happens because we freak out finally and go, that's it. I think what you said is really important. Is this a good moment? And if they say no, it's not, go, well, when
When
is?
is
Because then you can get nailed.
schedule it.
You can honor yourself and say you're going to nail down a time for me.
Schedule it.
Yeah.
One thing I like about what you're saying is the woman doesn't give the man room to be whiny or pathetic. You call him out and say, okay, we're going to do this.
Yeah.
But you're not doing it in a way that gets in his face and is miserable and terrible. You're doing it in a way that says, I love you, but I'm not giving you any room to back down and be pathetic. Like, come on, let's do this.
Yeah.
Men need that. And I think most men have never had a healthy conflict with their mother, their sister, their anybody. So they grow up afraid to even try to talk to women because they don't want to hurt them and they don't know how to make it work.
Right. And their thought is, well, her happiness is somehow on my shoulders because I was told I was going to drive up or ride up in a horse and like solve all the things. And by the way, I'm out here trying to figure it out for myself as well.
Yes.
And so I think you can instill more competency in your partner when you say, I love you and I believe in you, even if in this moment we don't actually have the answer.
That's true. Even the hardest men I know, they still look at their wife or their girlfriend and her happiness as a metric of how he's performing.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's smart. I try not to do that with me and my wife because a woman's happiness it passes by the day with the clouds. But
Yeah.
but her well-being, her strength, is she able to be feminine? Is she able to rest in you? Is she able at least to be safe in you? Maybe she's not safe maybe she's not happy that day, but she's safe in you.
Yeah.
That's really the metric that I think more men need to be measuring by. But most men don't know what safety is because they've never even felt it themselves as a child.
Yeah. And I think it's harder because as women, right, we start with our girlfriends. We're talking the bus like, oh, I'm at my house and this is what's going on.
Yeah.
And guys are taught to be stoic and not know how to manage their feelings. So then later they either drink it down or anger it down or whatever they do instead of if having that opportunity to be vulnerable, to say, I don't really know. Because the other side of that is that isn't actually a weakness. It's a sign to me of intelligence, of like, hey, I'm swimming in waters that I'm a little bit out of my depth, so I need some tools.
Mhm.
I don't think it's a lack of competency. It's just you haven't gotten that experience yet.
100%. No man is born knowing every skill. That is just not a thing.
No, and that's, I think, another situation for young men right now, which women will become women kind of no matter what. We get our periods, like it's happening. And I think with men, it was a rite of passage.
Mhm.
And with that came, you were with older guys and they taught you stuff and you learned to make stuff and build stuff and cut stuff and fix stuff and the wind direction and hunting and all these things. And now we live in a time that we don't get these rite of passage for men. And so I think it's a disservice to them because computer programming is, I'm sure, incredibly valuable. But at some point, if all the power goes off, there is something really important for men to know how to do something that gives them a lot of confidence. Ryan Holiday talked about, sort of proof of concept. Like, hey, I don't know how to do this, but I have sort of this history that I've learned to figure things out, so I can figure this out too.
Not only I can figure things out and do them alone, but I can work with other men. I can learn from other men.
Yes.
If I don't know what to do, I can get a mentor, and that's okay. And in fact, other people respect me, like you just said, because I'm seeking information. That not knowing does not damage your manhood. It actually enhances it if you go and seek out the information now.
Yes.
That's a message a lot of men don't get, and you need to be initiated in that successfully with other men, that men are supposed to help each other.
Right. And they might even be like, hey, idiot, stop doing that. Because that's sometimes how, you go on a construction site and there's always that young 20-year-old and God forbid you're working in cement or something. That's like everything's so volatile that but you remember.
You do. You do. And sometimes guys need to be rough with each other. And I think there's the line, a lot of men don't know how rough they can be with the woman in their life
Mm.
because we're raised to believe women are made of glass or you're a bad person if you ruffle her feathers even slightly. I think a lot of men, and you said something before we started the show that I'd love to hear again, but I think a lot of men are trying so hard not to hurt women
Mm.
that we infantilize and baby women too much. And I don't think women like that either.
No, and I don't, my husband's partner. I'm not his daughter, you know.
That's a good way to put it.
And I it's sort of like I really what happens is if I can be treated like first of all, an equal, high thinking person, but also a woman,
Hmm.
not a child,
Hmm.
not a girl.
Hmm.
There's a caveat about the girl part. Then what that does is I lean more into her and she becomes stronger and more powerful and more vocal and more capable.
Hmm.
The only time I want to be treated like a girl is I think playfulness and fun and curiosity and
Ah.
wonder that if I meet an 80-year-old woman who still has girly eyes,
Mhm.
I think a lot of times it's her own curiosity, but somewhere in there, I believe oftentimes she's been well loved.
Yes.
So, girl, not as in my child, but just that people they allow each other to be silly and fun and curious. Because that, if you can keep that alive in her, because it's harder
Mm,
for us to do that. We get bogged down with details and responsibility. Men
for sure.
keep the boy alive easier
Mm,
because they just naturally are more playful and
mm.
all those things. I think it's so valuable if a woman can find places and spaces to do that, not just on a girls' night out, kind of shit faced with her friends on Wednesday,
Yeah.
but like in a real way on a silly nothing car drive with your kids. The girl stays alive.
Yes.
I think she helps preserve us being so serious all the time.
I agree. I think the only way that people can be playful, we know, is sympathetic nervous system when you're rest, safe, digesting.
Yeah,
I think men can make themselves safe easier than women can.
absolutely.
Women need that safety, otherwise it doesn't turn off. They're crafting it, and they shouldn't have to.
Yeah,
It's the masculine exists to give safety to the feminine,
yeah,
so the feminine can do its job, which is so much more important of nurturing and building and growing. Right? Men build structures, and women turn those structures into something useful. That's actually what we
yeah,
do. But I think that's a better metric for men, rather than is she happy today? Is she safe and able to be playful? I think of that with my wife when she's with our kids singing silly songs and playing toys
yeah,
and just with all of them. They're all piled on her. And she sends me photos when I'm on trips of the kids riding on her back, pony rides, and she's pregnant, carrying 3 of the kids on her back and 2 more dragging on her ankles, and they're having an absolute blast out in the yard. That gives me joy because I'm doing my job, not
yeah,
just because I'm providing a roof and food, money that anybody could do, but I'm giving them safety to play. That
yeah.
means so much to me. Hey guys, for those of you who are ready to do in person work with me at the end of April in San Diego, California, I want you to know there are a few spots left at my Relationship Mastery Intensive Retreat. This is not going to be for everybody, it's only for people who are ready to fix their relationships now, to have a breakthrough that they've never felt before, and to go home already using relationship skills that will help you achieve everything you wanted to in your love life. This is not just for couples, it's also for people who aren't in a relationship yet, but they want to be someday. If you've never understood how relationships work and you're ready for live masterclasses taught by me to show you exactly what you've always missed, coaching demonstrations by my certified coaching team to show you exactly what to say instead of all the things that start your fights, and practicums led in small groups by my trained coaching staff and me, where you practice the skills in person right there with direct guidance. If that sounds like something you've been needing, this is your year. I only do this once a year, and it's a small, hand-selected group. So, again, spots are very limited. I would love to see you there. There's more information and a way to sign up down in the description below. Click the link and secure your spot now.
I wonder sometimes for men if, because you know how dads can be playful and go do wild things with their kids.
Mhm.
Sometimes, because I do feel in some scenarios that the dad, especially as kids get older, feel like I'm out of the loop. Like
Yeah.
a little bit out of the loop.
Mhm.
Um, so I always want to encourage men that they're they're really important and powerful beyond the not only creating the safe environment, but not being afraid to what's comfortable to them, to be playful, to engage with their kids, because the only way sometimes we get in the loop is like you get in the loop.
Yeah, no kidding. I agree with that. I think that fathers, I mean, my job is not going to be done till my very last breath, and
Oh, yeah,
that's
try
it.
adult kid
Yeah,
problems.
no kidding. I'm not there yet. My oldest is 10, and
Oh my
that's,
God.
I know,
Oh
I'm
my
only
God.
heading into the crucible.
I'll share a line with you really quickly, because you were talking about that you have a lot of really strong women that listen to this. Uh,
Mhm.
Laird took me to the airport recently, a couple weeks ago, and he brought my bags up for me. And I said, thank you for always just taking care of me. And it's a small thing. Why would I have to say that? Because when someone's doing something every day, when they're always showing up, that's all we want too. I
Yeah.
want. And he goes, and he looked at me and he goes, well, maybe you knew I would, right? Like when I was 25, right? And
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, maybe I did.
Uh-huh.
And he goes, but the only way I can is because you can do it for yourself. And so I think also when we talk about femininity, I think we also don't teach women they're in the pocket of selfishness is imperative, because you must figure out the way to make yourself happy. And that requires selfishness. And so whether you have children or a partner, your business, all these things, women don't get encouraged to have this one space that is like, well, what do I need, or what do I want, and how would I get that, and how would I feel that, and that can be a weekly revisit. But I think it's a lot of times women go, I'll serve everybody, and then they go, I hate all of you, and so to remind them uh, that voice, it's not a bad thing.
Right.
I think it's essential if you're going to really do this for a long time.
What do you do to remember that? Because most women get lost in the service to others. I think of my poor wife with, again, the happy stories of the kids on her, but then like the pony rides never end. The kids always want
Oh
more. And
yeah.
then there's always laundry, and there's always the eternal
Oh,
battle.
the
And,
laundry.
and I have to try to manage her self-care, and many times just because she'll forget, or she'll say, I don't have time, and I got to make sure she does. What do you do to win that battle and make sure you're doing that for yourself and being a human being, not just a robot?
Well, listen, I have it easy. I came in from the momentum of professional sports.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it's my training.
Mm-hmm.
If I get my training in the morning, and when my kids were little, listen, if it was 15 minutes, it was 15 minutes. But if I get that time in, other women, it might be like, actually, I need to go take a walk
Mm.
and be in nature. Or everybody's different. I need that energy, because it gives me more fuel in my tank to do all the things and be all the things for people. But everybody's fuel source is very different.
Mm-hmm.
Some women, it might be a further down regulation.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's like an attack and like a go get it and build up that chi or that
Mm-hmm.
life force. And now I'm good to go.
Okay.
So I just never compromised it.
Do you ever battle with mom guilt of like, I shouldn't be taking care of myself like so many women do?
Not that.
Okay.
Of course, I feel like they hand you a baby, and with it is like constant guilt.
Oh, it's horrible.
It's just, like, was I too tough? Was I not tough enough? Like, it's like, really?
Mm-hmm.
Laird always reminds me that, like, I really, and maybe because it was the way I responded well, I really tried not to squish my children's spirit,
Mm-hmm.
and also not use guilt or manipulation to parent them. And there were times when they got a little older where I was like, oh man, I should try to control that kid a little more and manipulate them and bang them into the form that I
Mm-hmm.
think they should be.
Mm-hmm.
But that would never have worked with me.
Yeah.
And what's happening is now I'm seeing the fruits of that. My youngest child's 18, and I have a 22-year-old and a 30-year-old, and I'm seeing them actually come into their essence, and that this part of the project or the experiments kind of worked out. I think guilt is a constant part of being a parent, because they don't give you the answers.
Yeah.
The arc on the story is long.
Yep.
It means everything.
That's true.
So as far as my self-care, absolutely not.
Good.
Because if I could flip it for people, your job is to be an example of how to be as a person. So when you train, you're doing part of your parental responsibilities, which is to model what it looks like to, quote, be healthy or take care of yourself. So if you need like another excuse to like be a good parent,
Mm-hmm.
then you just say that. I'm going to train. Actually, no, I'm just going to model how being healthy looks like. So if they need that, because that's just how they're hardwired, take it.
I love that.
Me, I was like, in order to love everyone and not hate the people in my house, I'm going to really train hard. And I understood as a byproduct, my daughters would get that language for themselves.
100%. I tell a lot of the women I work with, I say, look, you're not going to be able to give your family your best if you don't take care of yourself. So
No,
if you feel guilty, at least tell yourself that I'm doing this for them because they get to benefit,
exactly.
if nothing else.
Yeah. And then learn within it over time. Listen, don't be a martyr. I can't, come on. You chose to have the partner and the kids. So you're not like, this is what you want, or this is what you chose. And don't be a martyr.
Mm-hmm.
But like, so that gives you the freedom to go, I want to do this. So, because sometimes, well, I did this for you. It's like, okay, well, we chose to be parents. It's kind of the job.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, there's sacrifices, but that's also part of the job.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a part of me that like, I kind of think like, just be selfish so that then also you can be accountable.
Yes. Yeah. If you built this life, then enjoy that life.
Yes.
Just get a better version of it. Sure. But
Yeah.
you don't get to complain the whole time.
No. And you're not like, oh, I did it for them. It's like, no, then don't have like, do a different thing, take a different path. And that's okay too, by the way.
I hear that.
Yeah. Even femininity, if you go, hey, I don't know if I'm ready to do that. It's okay.
One thing I hear a lot from women is they have a hard time shifting modes once it is
Mhm.
time to be with their husband or their family,
Yeah.
right? They are out in the world. They're like you. They're conquering. They're out in the
Get it.
world, outside the door. You're the CEO. You're great. And you enter the door and you just, poof, you take it all off and everything is perfect. And you
Mhm.
instantly lock into happy wife mode, right? And the pink apron goes on and the
Yep.
fuzzy bunny slippers and everything's
Mhm.
wonderful. How do you make that transition from outside to inside?
I learned a long time ago. I actually wrote about it in the second book I wrote, and I called it Shiny Eyes.
Mm.
Because what happened was I would come home, and already I'm a pretty monotone person, and I would I use this example. I drive through the driveway, I would see Laird, and in my mind I'd be like, there he is. I love him. I'm so happy to see him. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
and he would see me, but he would see this.
Yes.
So by the time I got out of my car, how was your day? And I was like, oh, wow, this is not going how I had planned. That
Yeah.
was in my mind. So what I learned was shiny eyes. So the minute I'd see Laird, I just perk right up. Because if that's how he saw how I was feeling,
Mhm.
so be it. I use it in the morning. He's downstairs much earlier than I am. When I come down, let me tell you, before I make that turn off the stairs and he sees my face for the first time in the day,
Mhm.
new kid, no sleep, whatever.
Yep.
Good morning. Because whether it's selfish or not, there's two things I want to happen. I want Laird to know that I'm happy to see him.
That's awesome.
I don't want to be a person that when you see me, I'm just like, hey, what's up? That's lame. And the other side is I'm doing it for myself because it sets my day up better. Because then when I get back is, good morning, lover, and then here's my coffee and all the things. It's not like he'd withhold that. But the point is that there's a dual win. Laird is understanding, oh, wow, this person appreciates and is excited to see me.
Yeah.
And what happens? He reflects that back. And then I go, because people ask me often, we have been together over 30 years. We really like each other.
Mm-hmm.
Our relationship is exciting. And I don't mean like we go on holidays and we take adventures. We have a dynamic, growing, alive relationship. And it's because I always say to my friends, if you want the thing, be the thing.
Mm-hmm.
So how could I expect to be adored and cherished and like someone who's like happy to see me if I can't do that?
That is so true.
So I call it shiny eyes. You can borrow that. You
That
can
is
have
fantastic.
it. And listen, people can go, oh, that's not genuine. You know what?
Yeah.
On that. Get the outcome. What's genuine is the outcome, is the connection, is the liveliness. And the fact of the matter is I love this person. So if me changing part of my language, which could be body language, gets me to that place, so be it.
I love that. Shiny eyes. That is fantastic. It makes me think of my wife. We've only been married 17 years.
Only. That's a hell of a long time.
For you, I mean, that's
and you have 5 small children with another one coming, dude.
Yeah.
In ways you've graduated way past my level.
Well, thank you. But I think of my wife when I come off on these business trips and I come home. she is the first one at the door, like on the front porch. She's got one baby in her arms. She's like hopping, happy to see me, pregnant belly wobbling, but she's actually happy to see me. And it's like, I just feel this warmth in my chest. Like I am, not only am I home, but I'm so glad to be home.
Yeah. And she may not really feel that way, but she feels that way about
I
you.
almost don't care if she
But
feels
this
like
is what I'm
it's
saying. Like people
amazing.
don't realize. Imagine if you came home and she was on the counter
Oh yeah.
and like, oh, hey. And then you're stressed out already from your work trip. Because
Yeah.
people think, listen, staying home with children is a whole set of challenges that
Yes.
going to work, I don't care who you are, but going to work, there's stuff's happening.
Yep.
But imagine like the upcycle. She's happy. She's on the porch. You come up, you give her a big warm hug, and man, you're off to the races.
Mhm.
Conversely to the other, like, you guess what happened to me today,
That's
you know?
right. That's why I have 6 kids.
And you can
because
get
of this.
there. You can still share like, hey, God, I kind of had some stuff today,
100%.
but it doesn't have to be the first thing.
No, and it can't be. I mean, that happiness, like, that's why we have 6 kids, is because we're actually happy to see each other. And
Yeah.
it's joyful. And then the kids are there watching it. And my daughters are like watching her being happy, and they're happy to see me. But I know someday they'll be happy to see their husbands. My sons are watching their mother greet their father coming home. So I know that they now have an expectation of how a woman should respect them and the sacrifices my sons make as well. So
Yeah.
they're seeing it and they're feeling it. But then that makes me a better dad, because then I'm happy. Like my wife's happy. And then I walk in, I'm all happy to see my kids. And now instead of being dead from 8 days on the road, I'm kind of buzzing. So I pick up my kids and I give them a big hug. I'm like, I'm home, and we wrestle and we play. I don't plod in and see my wife going, oh, you're home again. Okay.
Oh, how was your trip?
How was your trip? Or not even ask. She's on Instagram and like, oh, it's you. And then she's like back to the phone, like a lot of people are today, men and women.
Yeah.
It just makes everything so different. Like you said, the shiny eyes. I'm going to borrow that. I'm going to borrow the hell out of that.
Yeah. I like to make it easy. Life throws you this and that already, and working hard is hard work. And so I don't ever understand why we can't just look a little ahead, analyze, and think, I have some opportunities here to make it not only easier for them, but also easier for myself.
100%.
And I'm all for it.
That's amazing.
It's not disingenuous.
No, it's not.
I think it's smart.
It's not. It's only fake if you are actually not happy to see them. And if you're not,
Right.
back to what you said, you should say something about that.
We'll call it that. Well, that's the other thing. We are in the house of clear the decks. Laird does not let anything fester. And certainly since I got myself into that situation 25 years ago, I have become a very, I don't let anything, I don't even let it go more than a day. I'd say we call it pull the weeds. Just, you always clear the decks and pull the weeds.
100%.
Because it's just not worth it. It's way better just to be like check in,
100%.
clear.
100%. For me and my wife, that's 9 to 9:15 every night.
Yeah.
All the kids are down, or they should be. All of them are down. They're in their beds. At least they're pretending to sleep. 9 to 9:15. How you doing? Any fires? Any challenges? Do you need anything? Can I take care of you? What are we doing?
Yeah.
And we clear the deck.
Yeah.
And then from 9:15 to 10 o'clock, couples, love, happiness,
Oh God,
play,
you
games,
need to calm
whatever
down
you
with that
gotta
9:15 to 10 o'clock.
do. It's okay. That's all right.
Actually, you can't get her pregnant right now, so you might as well go.
Hey, you know what? That's the game.
It's
That's
like-
the game.
You're- Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I'm not sure how we lost some of the beauty that is in some of this dance. And like you started this conversation with, people think it will be, you'll be weak or you'll be a doormat, or I think if you develop yourself in the ways that you think are important and in the things that you admire, I do believe people will attract their antenna, their signal will attract someone who is the same. So I think our first best shot is really to work on ourselves and to take care of our business.
It's all we control.
It really is. And it actually is really in a relationship as well. And this is where faith would come in and just to sort of believe. It's sort of like all formulas. When we adhere to, I put my head down, I do the work, it usually lands me in a pretty great place.
I love that. I love that. Can I ask you one more question for all
You
the
can
women
ask
at
me
home?
any question.
All the women at home, I can hear them right now. How do I find my Laird Hamilton? How do I find them? What do I do? They're 20, they're 30.
Uh-huh.
They're looking for a husband. They're looking for a family. She is a CEO. She's got masculine energy. No one tells her what to do. No one puts baby in a corner. But she does. She wants a man, and
Yeah.
she would love to be that woman at home with the apron, happy, joyful, happy, shiny eyes to see her husband. But she has no idea what to do to attract this man. What does she
Okay,
do?
well, first of all, I think it's really important to understand what you want.
Mm-hmm.
Because, for example, when I met Laird, I probably made 10 times the amount of money that Laird made. Laird
Mm-hmm.
has since, become very successful in his own right.
Mm-hmm.
My values, meeting Laird was also a reflection of my true and deep and long values.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't need somebody. I wasn't looking for somebody to pay my bills. Is there a dance when a female over time makes a lot more money than a man? There is some real trickiness in there. Let's
Mm-hmm.
not play games.
Mm-hmm.
But I was looking for somebody who was capable and competent in a not in a worldly way.
Mm-hmm.
So, Laird can fix things. He can build things. If the lights go out, I feel like I will eat. Laird will solve real problems,
Mm-hmm.
not the world's problems. I'm talking about the real problems,
Yeah.
the problems that we all think aren't going to happen. And so I really was, and I didn't know that about myself necessarily, but I didn't want a guy who had a bunch of zeros that was like going to buy me stuff and take me on trips. That wasn't my thing. And if
Yeah.
women are looking for a guy to buy them purses, they're going to attract a very specific kind of guy.
Yeah.
So it's really about your values. And
I
then
hear
it's
that.
like, okay, someone who's honest, somebody who's loving, somebody who like could take care of me if like something hits the fan.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think first it's to ask yourself, what would counterbalance your strengths?
Mm-hmm.
And what do you think in the long run you would respect and admire? Because it isn't the ability to make money. I don't think.
Mm.
There's so many qualities prior to that are so much more important.
Then every rich man would be a perfect husband if that was the case.
Yes. And for me also, I wanted to be cherished. Like for real. I'm interested, like if Laird looks at me, even if it's for 5 minutes, I don't want to feel like somebody's humoring me.
Mm.
I want to feel like somebody's actually listening. So I think
I hear that.
if somebody's listening to this, how could they do it? So first, do your own homework.
Mm-hmm.
If you want someone who's healthy, be healthy. If you want someone who's honest, be honest.
Mm-hmm.
If you want somebody who's hardworking, be hardworking.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So we need to cultivate the values within ourselves that we're hoping to attract, at least in the ones that are similar. There's certain things that I did want that have everything to do with Laird's masculinity
Mm-hmm.
that I couldn't cultivate. But could I receive it? Could I hold space for Laird? Because that's the other side, is people don't understand when someone is really masculine and they're serving you, there's certain things that are only for you. And you have to be able to really take care of that and protect that as the female counterpart.
That's very true.
So we don't know that. And then I've had to learn that. Like even if, let's say Laird was sick and the phone rang and it was somebody looking for Laird, like a friend, I wouldn't say, well, he's here sick. I'd say, oh, he's not available.
Yeah.
Because it's so small. But when the masculine goes, hey, I'm going to show you everything, your job is actually also to protect it.
Cover his nakedness.
Yep. And so if she could think about that, and also think about celebrating, encouraging, appreciating the masculine energy, because that's what a guy's looking for. Hey, thank you for working so hard. Hey, I really appreciate you. It's so simple, but you have to learn the language too, because otherwise no real guy is going to get near you.
No.
If you don't even like smell of it a little.
Right.
If you're like, a real guy is going to be like, yeah, I don't need that.
Yeah. Respect and appreciation.
Yeah. It's pretty rare and it's pretty simple.
I love that.
Yeah. And ask for it.
And ask for it.
Ask, say, I'm feeling ready. And also if there's guidance about like other ways that I could work on myself in the meantime, or move to Montana or Wyoming.
Yeah.
Get yourself a cowboy.
Get a cowboy.
somebody who's
That's
in nature. People who work in dangerous things or in nature, or a firefighter,
yes.
just help them with their stress.
Yes.
That tends to be a little easier.
I love that. That is fantastic. Abby, thank you for sharing your time with me today. This was fantastic.
I appreciate
Everybody
you.
at home needed this as well. So thank you. Everybody at home listening to this needed this as well very badly, because a lot of
Oh.
women in our world are afraid to be women. They think they have to be men. And I think that there's enough men in the world, to be honest with you.
Or not the right kind.
Or not the right kind. Fair.
You know,
Okay.
I think also it's sort of femininity is like equal to me of like love.
Ooh.
The possibilities when we're loving and of what comes from love is infinite.
Mhm.
And it's a like an expanded and limitless energy. So love isn't just this weak, soft, squishy thing. And I feel that way about femininity and being a woman. The more I can do it and the more loving and kind I can be, I actually become stronger and certainly more powerful. So for them, you're not giving up anything for something. And by the way, it's all hard.
It's all hard.
Like
No,
when you're going to choose to get into that, like have a relationship and family, let me tell you, it's hard for the guys too. So, and it's great, but know that going in, it's a lot.
yeah. Life is hard no matter what you choose. So choose the fun kind of hard at least.
Yeah, exactly. And then like, at least you're with the person that you're just like, it's crazy, right? And then it's cool.
It is. It's a lot of fun when you play it that way.
Totally.
That's amazing. Besides your book, Shiny Eyes, which I need to go get a copy of
that
immediately.
book is actually called My Foot's Too Big for the Glass Slipper.
My Foot's Too Big for the Glass Slipper.
Yeah.
That is a heck of a title. I love that.
Well, because I have a size 12 foot, so it was a pun on that. But,
Okay.
it was a guide to the less than perfect life.
Huh.
Yeah, no, I have the Gabby Reece Show, and
I was on that. It was wonderful. Everybody check it out immediately.
Yeah, you were great on there.
Thank you.
And listen, people can find me. They can find me.
Oh, they'll find you. I know it. I know it. When I went to see you the first time, I went home to my mother-in-law, and I won't say her age, but she's older than you. And I said, oh, yeah, I did the show. And she said, oh, with who? And I said, with Gabby Reece. And she went, huh? And I said, yeah, with Gabby and her husband, Laird. But she went, Laird Hamilton? Gabby Reece? You? So it's you're more famous than I am.
Well, an expert, somebody who lives a mile away. So you'll never get, right, the respect. They'll be like, oh, you're coming up.
That is okay. My mother-in-law loves me for who I am, and that's just fine. But no, you're both of you are towering figures in my household at least. So I'm glad to be able to meet you.
Thanks.
Thank you for being here today.
Great to see you.
Everybody, thank you for being here today. Be the kind of feminine that you are. Don't let anyone define it, but don't let yourself run away from it either. And I'll see you on the next episode.